Here's today's God Call with Reverend Bill.
Oops. Now, when you hear me say oops, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's an indication that there's been some small mistake that's been made. The interesting thing is that the word oops has only been used for about 100 years. So before that, what happened when somebody made a little tiny mistake? Harumph. Maybe things would be better if we went back to the days before oops. Oh, that's you, and you need to unmute. I don't think we can do that from here. Oh, beautiful. Everybody take a deep breath. We're in for a treat today. Good morning, New Thought, Philadelphia. Yes, crisp October weather that we're having here today. Another Sunday on Zoom. We're actually be doing a Sunday in person in November. Details coming on that soon. But for while we're on Zoom, you know the drill. Leave yourself muted, except when you're going to be sharing, or when we're all going to be talking at the same time, making a really cacophonous noise. Like now, go ahead and unmute so you can repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to new possibilities.
I open myself to new
possibilities.
I know that love is right here, right now.
I
know that love is right here, right now.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
Press that mute button one more time. Make sure you still know how it works. Good for you. New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you to our Zoom today, wherever you're heading next, we have been expecting you. And welcome home. We believe there's one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us, and that we each use that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. As we like to say around here, your new life begins with a new thought. And that is not a mandatory belief. You don't have to believe that. It just makes it really helpful to continue the conversation with the other folks in this group, because that's kind of the thread that holds us together. If you have an extra electronic device that would be distracting to you, if it buzzed or beeped or whined or whatever it does in the next hour or so, go ahead and turn it off so that we can turn our attention inward. I'm Bill Marchioni, the spiritual director here at New Thought Philadelphia. Our music today is Sonic Yogi. Jonathan is in Atlanta, and this is his second time appearing at New Thought Philadelphia. And afterwards, the number of people who said, "Oh, I didn't connect that. I've been listening to him on Insight Timer for years." So there's a whole bunch of us who had been doing that, and isn't that wonderful? We have a couple of practitioners on duty for today, and Jesus Baez, on his way to Florida, as usual, is going to open us in prayer.
Thank you, Rev. Thank you. It's a beautiful day. Let's settle in and bring your eyes to a soul focus or close them out completely from the without to come to within. With goodness, the God, the Spirit, in the center of our being, want to come out flourishing in this celebration. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, or they had come to the heart of man, is what Spirit had prepared for each one of us in this celebration. This celebration of unity of love. Like Rev said, the thread that holds us together, that interwoven thread of love, where each one of us is, with that power, dwelling in the secret place of the Most Highest, abiding by the shadow of the Almighty. Oh, this is a beautiful day. This is God's day. If it's God's day, it's our day, because whatever God possesses is ours for the taking. Preparing our minds, our thoughts, opening ourselves up for that flow in the glow of Spirit to flow through each one of us through this celebration with that unity, that each one of us bring that talent, that precious gift that each one of us possesses. Let us saturate the way Spirit saturates this celebration. Let us also saturate, because Spirit is in us, all around us. It is us. I'm so grateful and thankful, and I claim this good, this unity, this peace, this power, this freedom, this wisdom, this intelligence that's in each one of us. Claim it for each one of us here. Let it spread. Let us know. Let us believe. Let us imagine. Let us feel this goodness that is infinite. Let's prepare our modes. Let's prepare our course, our field, that field of pure potentiality where all things are possible in the court, in the field of God, where we live and move and have our being. And as I release my word, this word, into the creative medium that always created, that creative power, it always saying yes. I know it's saying yes right now. It's created this place of goodness, this place of unity, this place of love, more good is here right now. And with gratitude in my heart, I release my word to the Lord of my eyes. Always say yes, and once again to say yes. So it is. Amen. Blessed be.
Thank you for that, Jesus. Amen. And so it is. So the reason that we do a practical prayer is not because we owe something to God, but it is actually a creative activity in that creative process that Jesus was just talking about. So this is a time when we get to brag on the ways that our prayers have been showing up in our lives up until now. And I have a quick prayer work story, which was not one that I was expecting to have. As most of you know, Oliver Quimby joined us about 1.5 years ago. He's our standard poodle. And we also have a grand dog. And the grand dog, Professor Henry Higgins, doesn't like other dogs. And Oliver is very, very energetic around other dogs. And so I have been training Oliver for 1.5 years and conditioning him and trying to teach him the dog paradox, which is that the more chill and cool he is with other dogs, the more time he gets to spend with other dogs. And he's really having a hard time with that. So I can see him as he's trying to wrap his head around that. But yesterday, while I was at the pumpkin party and Dina was taking care of Professor Henry Higgins, she brought him back over to the house to groom the grand dog. And Oliver was completely chill and calm and walked downstairs and sat there and watched as Higgins got groomed. And I didn't see this, but I heard about it when I came home, and it's like, whoa, that's 1.5 years in the making. So I was very happy to have that one. Anybody else have a prayer work story that you would like to share? Go ahead and wave your hand or raise your digital hand there. Sarah has one.
Okay, so real quick, I have a friend whose birthday is the 30th, and I have another friend who kind of connected me with that friend who said, Sarah, I think we should do something really fun for Steph. And I said, okay, that sounds great. So I took the day off of work on Friday so that we could go and play with our inner children at the Crayola experience in Easton, Pennsylvania. And it was literally as if it was a dream. Martine had spent the night before. We went to the Eastern State Penitentiary to get our little scare on. She woke up in the morning feeling really concerned that Stephanie was going to hate this and think that this was lame. And like, I'm 35 years old and you're taking me to the Crayola factory. And I, like, kid you not, I just looked straight in Martine's face and I was like, I didn't even consider that as a possibility. So we did a quick affirmation that like everything was going to move the way that it was meant to, and we were going to be joyous and receive that joy. And we had a delicious brunch at the Fitzwater Cafe, which I'd never been to here in Philly. It held us. We thought we were going to need to eat lunch. No lunch was needed. We went to the Crayola factory. It went beautifully. Somehow on our way back, the GPS did not take us the regular, fast route on 95 or whatever it was supposed to be. We ended up going through the back roads, which ended up leading us on like the route that Martine takes to work every day. We ended up going to Martine's house, which neither of us had ever been to because she lives out in the middle of Levittown, which is so far. We got to see like everyone's normal everyday route on our way back from this really fun adventure. We got the most amazing dinner at the Dandelion, and apparently Steph knows someone that works there, so they just kept sending out buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of free food. And at the end of the day, I was literally just like, wow, when you're open to receiving and you're in that flow, like it just doesn't stop. And then the next day we got to, all right. But yeah, it was a really, really great time. And I just was so grateful for Martine's fear in that one moment so that we could turn to faith and really align with it. And then literally right after that, everything just flowed. Everything just upward spiral. So very fun, very awesome. If anyone hasn't been to the Crayola factory, maybe try. It's super fun. Thank you for letting me babble at you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the glorious babble. I have not been to the Crayola factory since my little girl was actually a little girl. Asa, you got a story to share? And then Annie, and then off to announcements. You need to unmute.
Good morning, everyone. It's a blessing to be with you. I have a nephew who one of my sisters suggests that I ask him to put my GoFundMe on his social media. So I called him, left a message. He actually called me back the very next day. And he said, sure, Auntie, just write it up and send to me. And so I'm writing something and my sister's writing something so we can get the most ideal message out. And my nephew has over 5,000 people on his social media. So for him to say, yes, Auntie, I would love to, is exactly what I need. So blessings come, be in the asking mode.
I love it. I love it when the answer shows up as a yes. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
That's great. Annie.
Morning, everybody. So I don't even know that I actually did a prayer per se, but I had a headache for 2 weeks. And everything I tried, it was not working at all. And like 2 days ago, I was like, okay, I'm going to be open to trying this new medicine, even though I know God is in the pill. Well, universe or whatever, because I don't really, that's neither here nor there. But there's something, that is also made with good intentions and thoughts, hopefully. And I started this new medication. I have no headache. I am pain-free this morning, completely pain-free, which, my back isn't hurting. I don't even know. It's been months since I woke up and was pain-free. And I am so grateful because it almost brings me to tears because I haven't had a pain-free day in so long that I forgot how wonderful it was. So
Cool. Very cool.
I think actually, Bill, I think you prayed about this like 2 weeks ago with me, but
Yeah, it sounds familiar. It sounds familiar. And congratulations and welcome home. We got some announcements which are going to be channeled by Dina.
Oh yeah, it's me. Well, this leaf pile of information is on our website at newthoughtphilly.org and in our weekly e-newsletter. Please sign up on the website so we can keep in touch. Twice a day, we have a community check-in and meditation on Zoom. Everyone is welcome. They are inspiring and fun and quick, less than 15 minutes start to finish. Save the date for our winter solstice celebration on the evening of Wednesday, December 21st. We'll be hybrid with live in-person music by Ginger Coyle. The series of spiritual adventure workshops continues with Fear to Faith on Thursday, November 3rd at Exhale in Narberth and hybrid on Zoom. Sign up today. Episode 72 of Rev Bill's Practical Prayer Workshop podcast, is Allowing Surrender and Submission versus Ego. It's on Apple, Google, Spotify, or Stitcher. You can join the live recording session on Monday at 1 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook Live. Follow our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and join the 1,176 spiritual adventures in our group on meetup.com. The Power of 8 Intention Circle meets on Zoom every Monday at 6:30. The Women's Circle meets on Zoom on the first Monday and the third Thursday every month at 7 p.m. Contact Sandy for information. We are co-creating the world in which we live, and this fall that means to vote. There's a lot to be decided on November 8th, so be sure to register now. Be prepared and vote. Thank you for your tax-deductible donations by PayPal, check, Venmo, Cash App, Square, or Zelle. Thank you for the team that makes our Zoom celebrations work and has fun doing it. To join the joy, contact Sandy. Next Sunday is online with the 5th Sunday Healing Celebration. Rev Bill and the practitioners will lead us in a deep and profound process to gain greater insight into our connection with spirit. Live original music by Jamie Lula. The practitioner interns are doing full sessions at no charge to complete their training. Contact them to set up an appointment. After the celebration, Jesus will be available for a quick Miracle in a Minute prayer. We're going to leave the Zoom meeting open for people to talk amongst ourselves after the celebration's over. Thank you.
Thank you. And as mentioned earlier, we had a pumpkin party in the park yesterday, which was just spectacular. I think we have a picture of some of our pumpkins and pumpkin people out there. It was a wonderful time. We carved pumpkins, we played cornhole, we had wonderful conversation. And as always, we ate and drank because New Thought, we're so good at doing that. Yeah. And by the way, this is the first time that Jesus has ever carved a pumpkin in his life. And so in the middle there, I think he did an awesome job. So thank you for that, Sarah. If there's anybody who's with us for the first time, go ahead and raise your hand, either electronically or in person, so that we can single you out for a little bit of a blessing. What we love to do is when people join us for the first become part of the community, the second visit we give you a gift and a special blessing. And the first visit we give you the welcome packet, which is pretty much the stuff that you're going to get when you sign up for the e-newsletter, and also a blessing. So let us just all, everyone else who's not here for the first time, rub your hands together, feel some warmth, let yourself feel the love, channel that love, and send that out to everyone in the group, and especially to the people who are here for the first time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your love and shining your light with us today. Welcome home. Sonic Yogi does our next musical interlude here. Just go ahead and set yourself on gallery view and make eye contact with the other people who we're in community with, because the eyes that you're looking into and the eyes that you're looking with are the eyes of the infinite. Beautiful, John. Thank you. Oh, that was wonderful. And Christine Joy is zooming in from Baltimore, is going to lead us in the flames of faith today. Chris?
I can help.
Sarah's going to back up Christine Joy this morning.
Okay, beautiful. We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine feminine and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone or any place you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
Blessed be. The reading today comes to us by way of Dana.
Good morning, and today's reading is by Ernest Holmes from the book This Thing Called You. You are a living being by virtue of the fact that through some process which no man knows, needs to know, or can know, life is incarnated in you, operating through you this moment. This is the gift of life. This is the Son forever begotten in the bosom of the Father. But you are an individual, like all other individuals, gradually awakening to the greater possibility. If life made you out of itself, which it most certainly did, and if you are an individual, just a little different from all other individuals who ever lived, then life not only created you as an independent being, it also implanted a unique something within you. It will never be duplicated. The spirit that accompanies you through your life is just a little different from the spirit of any other person. Not different in that it is isolated, because all are rooted in one being, but different in that it is individual. Suppose you were to think of it this way. There is a spirit in me, and this spirit is God as his own Son. Whether or not I understand it, there is a real myself, which forever exists in pure spirit. I had nothing to do with this. I merely awoke and discovered it. I did not give it to myself, and I cannot withdraw it from myself. I can only accept it. Since you are an individual, you can either accept or reject your own spirit. Of course, no one can take it away from you. Somewhere along the line, you will be compelled to accept it. However, you can procrastinate, you can divert, you can sidestep, or delay this divine event. If you knew beyond question that this is true, your greatest search would be after your own spirit. Well, you do know this. Every desire you have for betterment in life is some echo from that deep within, which forevermore proclaims, "Behold, I make all things new."
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. We're talking about change today, and the title of the talk is Parking in the Comfort Zone. Now, you know what your comfort zone is because that's where you feel comfortable. That's kind of where we tend to live our lives. And there's really nothing wrong with that, because outside of our comfort zone would be the uncomfort zone or the discomfort zone or the uncomfortable zone, or some people think of it as the danger zone or the death zone. I'm not going there because that's not comfortable. I want to stay in here where it's cozy and everything is understandable. And what I want to talk about a little bit is the process that we have of moving outside of our comfort zone and why that's important. Because outside of the comfort zone, yeah, it's discomfort or danger or whatever we describe it as, but that's also our growth zone. Inside of our comfort zone, we're not going to be changing. We're not going to be growing. We're not going to be expanding. And we don't have to grow and expand in every direction all the time. However, we do need to pay attention to the way that we are growing and expanding, the way that we're opening ourselves up to new possibilities, because otherwise there's the possibility of stagnating. So our friend Robert D. McDonald has the 4 questions, and I understand that the Women's Circle has been using this on a monthly and now bi-monthly basis. And the 4 questions are, question number 1 is, are you happy with the experience of life that you're having now? Pretty simple question. And if the answer is yes, then you can skip the other 3 questions. If you're happy with the experience that you've been having, then you can skip the 3 questions. And then the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are about what experience do you want to be having instead? And once you have that, how will you know that you have it? And the 4th question is, what's keeping you from having it now? And those last 3 are all about dealing with the change, about getting outside of our comfort zone and saying, okay, I've had what I've had up until now, and next I want to have something different. And that's the process for getting into something different. And that's where we're out of our comfort zone. That's where we're in our growth zone. And what happens is when we step out a little bit and we do something that's bold or different or daring or adventurous, and it works for us, then we've expanded our comfort zone. Our base has gotten bigger and there's room for more in our lives. But what happens if the answer to that first question is yes? Are you happy with the experience of life that you're having now? And the first time I posed this to a good friend of mine, he says, well, yeah. Do I just get to skip it? And on the one hand, you do get to skip the other 3 steps, but what do you do instead? What do we do when we're happy with the way things are going in our comfort zone right now? And, you know, the current state is satisfactory. Gratitude. Practice gratitude. When we take the good that we have for granted, we're turning our back on the possibility for that good to continue and even to up-level for us. A practice of gratitude is huge, huge, huge. And Meister Eckhart is the mystic in the 1600s or 1400s. He said, if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough. If the only prayer you ever say is thank you, that will be enough. So if your answer to question number 1 is yes, I'm happy with the way my life is going now, get into a gratitude practice. Get a gratitude journal. A lot of times a gratitude journal is used to remind us of how good our life is when we forget or we don't notice or we think that there are challenging things. We can embark on a gratitude journal where we write down 3 or 5 or 10 things in the morning or in the evening about that we're grateful for the day. And it reminds us to be in that place of gratitude. You don't have to do that when you're being challenged by circumstances. You can do that when you're living in your comfort zone. Things are going along now. And even if we're thinking back to the times where there's disruption and change and transformation going on for us, we can say, I'm glad to be through that. And I am so grateful for this new experience that I'm having now, and just bask in that. We're not hiding from anything. We're not shirking from anything, but we're keeping ourselves in the flow of that good. There's a lot of talk about how technology is disruptive, and there are processes in life that are disruptive, and it's in the disruption that we get rid of the old ways of doing things and we bring in new ways of doing things. And I actually have spent a lot of my professional career being on the leading edge of the disruption. Basically working in industries that no longer exist to turn them into new industries that now do exist. And they've gone through a few cycles in them. I was in the printing and publishing business, and I actually was working at advertising agencies when the art directors would use the spray adhesive and wax to put the pages of typeset materials together. And then the people who were setting the type got taken over by desktop publishing. And then the people who were doing the color got taken over by the color publishing. And then the printing presses got taken over by glorified color copiers. And all those people who used to have a great job, like working as a typesetter, they're out of work. That's not a happy thing for them in the world of disruption. However, that's the way that growth happens. There is disruption. And we were running a consulting company working out of Tampa, and our lead instructor carried around a little brochure from the Florida Bartenders School. And when she went in to train somebody who had been doing things the old way, and it was saying, well, you're going to need to, great, you've been a typesetter for 15 years and you'd love to keep doing that, but that's going away. So let's teach you how to use these new technologies, the new computer thing. And when somebody was resistant, she'd whip out the brochure and she'd say, you're going to need a different choice. So maybe you want to learn to be a bartender, because typesetter is not going to be around long enough for you to retire from that. And it really annoyed people. And it was absolutely true. It was absolutely true. It's a great book. Actually, it's a wonderful book. It's called New Thoughts for Today, and it's Contemplations for a Rapidly Changing World. Now, this book was published by Anton, the affiliated New Thought Network, and the contributors in it, there are probably 30 authors who wrote the one-page messages. And it's got a quote and an inspiration and an affirmation and a story in there. I'm one of them. And it's a wonderful source for just, I gave one to Jane yesterday at the park. She says, this is the kind of book I'm just going to open to a page and let that be what my day is about. And it's wonderful for doing that. And as I was going through here, my friend Carla Ryan, who actually was the publisher of the book, had a story where she wrote, she actually quoted something that she heard on the radio, which is, it is what it is until it isn't anymore. It is what it is until it isn't anymore. And that really cites the impermanence of the things that are going on. When we're in our comfort zone, it is what it is. And that's great. And let's rock that and celebrate it and be grateful for it. And when the next disruption comes along, when the next change comes along, let's find a way to embrace that and bring our best selves to it. There's a story that I've probably told way too often, so I'll do it very quickly now. It's the good news, bad news, who can tell story about the farmer who goes and visits his neighbor. And this is an ancient Chinese story, and asks the neighbor how things are going. And the neighbor says, well, the corral broke and his stallion got away. And that's a loss. And his neighbor says, oh, that's bad news. He says, bad news, good news, who can tell? A couple of days later, same neighbor comes by, check on it. And it turns out that what's happened is that the stallion came back and brought 3 wild mares with him. It's like, oh, good news. He says, good news, bad news, who can tell? And a couple of days later, the neighbor's back checking in again. And it turns out that the farmer's son, while he was repairing the corral, fell off the ladder and broke his leg. Oh, bad news. Bad news, good news, who can tell? A couple of days later, the army comes through collecting up conscripts to take off to fight in the war. And the son can't go because he's got a broken leg. So he's spared and stays home. And the guy says, good news. You can't tell. You just can't tell. It could be good news. It could be bad news. And we don't necessarily know what the difference is or how to look at it. And when we let go of our judgment about being able to label something as good news or bad news and say, this is the best thing that could ever happen, or this is the worst thing that could ever happen, when we go outside of our comfort zone of evaluating things the way that they have been, it gives us a lot of freedom. It gives us a lot of ability to experience things in a new way. It's political season now. Election day is coming up. I think it's 3 weeks away. And if you watch any of the political advertising on television, oh my God, the screaming and the hysteria. Nobody's in their comfort zone. The left won't leave anything left, and the right is taking away our rights. And, what's going to happen? And we can get involved in the fight, and that's okay, whatever we're going to do for our civic duty. And we can know the truth. We can invite love to unfold, to have that disruption, to have that change happen in a way that brings more good for everybody. For everybody. Did I mention that change is not necessarily always comfortable? That when we're faced with a change and we're getting dragged out of our comfort zone, sometimes kicking and screaming, that it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it is. There was another piece in the New Thoughts for Today book. This one was written by Martha Creek, who shared something called 5 Invitations, and it's about change. And as we are growing into our next newness, and they're invitations because they're not commandments, they're opportunities, they're possibilities for us to consider. The first invitation is don't wait. If something can change, don't wait. Allow it, open to it, and invite it. The second one is include everything and resist nothing. If the answer could be yes, then there could be something good in there. So, and I love to say the answer is always yes. Let's figure out what the question is. And as we are jumping into that, what is the question that we're going to get a yes to? Include everything and resist nothing, because that lets us be open. That brings in a brand new possibility. The third invitation is to bring your whole self to the experience. I know that there have been times in my life where I said, okay, yeah, and I half-assed the engagement with it. It's like, yeah, I'm kind of involved, but I'm kind of not involved. And it kind of works and it kind of doesn't work. And it can be okay. And when I bring my full self to something, my full intention, not necessarily doing things, but I'm going to be present and 100% involved in making sure that this is going to be unfolding as highest and best. It changes it. It changes all of it. The fourth one kind of caught me by surprise. Find rest in the middle of everything. Find rest in the middle of everything. Yeah, I'm really good at doing stuff. And it's possible for me to get so busy doing stuff that it turns into a struggle. Does it sound familiar to anybody? And we can struggle. We are free to choose to struggle. But good news, bad news, who can tell? We don't need to struggle. Maybe there's a different possibility for us. So when we let go of that and we find rest in the middle of everything, then it leaves the unfolding in a new way. If you take a deep breath in and then deep breath out, you can keep on breathing really fast until it turns into work, until it makes you lightheaded. Or you can take a deep breath in and pause. Take a deep breath out and pause. And even doing something that you're going to be doing all the time, you can find rest in the middle of it. So rest doesn't mean we're going to take a nap, but it does mean that we're going to bring peace and peace of mind into whatever we're engaged in. And the fifth and final one is cultivate the I don't know mind. Some of the most challenging times I've had in my life are when I knew the answer. And I had to fight with people who didn't know the answer, or who disagreed with me, or needed to make it happen the way that I envisioned it and saw it happen. And other times when I cultivate the I don't know mind, things still come together beautifully. And it's much less of a struggle. I was communicating back and forth with Breen earlier in the week because we were getting ready for our pumpkin party in the park. And we finally, it took a while to identify which park it was going to be. And then I got another text message thing from Jane saying, who's organizing this? And I cultivated the I don't know mind. I don't know. I'm not sure that this is going to be an organized event. People say, what do I think about organized religion? I said, well, I don't have one. Because that's one of the things that we have in New Thought, is that we can be spontaneous. And it was perfect. We basically put the word out of, bring something, some pumpkin spice, something to eat, something to drink, something to play, and a chair. And it was perfect. It all fit together perfectly. And raise your hand either in the screen or just in your mind if you know that you're the sort of person that if you had been tasked with it, you could have over-organized that and turned it into spreadsheets and checklists and a telephone tree. You don't have to raise your hand, Eddie. But yeah, because we all could. We all could do that. And we don't have to. We don't have to. So when you're in the comfort zone, be aware that you're in the comfort zone. And be aware that there is growth and new possibility outside the comfort zone, and that there is gratitude and unfolding and peace inside the comfort zone. And make your choice and take your steps and be in that place of inviting the newness and let the love unfold, because the people around you deserve it, and you deserve it, and we all deserve it. So it is.
Let's just stay right there in that space. And just breathe. If you haven't already, you could close your eyes or allow them to go to a soft focus. Sit up straight in your chair. Allow it to support you. And just breathe. So I'll take a nice, deep, cleansing breath, breathing in fully. And exhale. And just feel the relaxation. One more deep breath in fully. Hold. And exhale. Oh, and just relax. Reverend Bill talked about the comfort zone. His talk title was No Parking in the Comfort Zone. But we can park in the presence of that infinite spirit, that one power and presence. So we're going to take a little road trip. Just imagine that you're driving. Any kind of road you like. Could be a dark desert highway. Could be the coastal highway. Could be a mountain road. Could be a countryside. Trees and farms and beauty all around. But you're just driving along enjoying yourself. It's a beautiful day. You notice up ahead a side street, a road, a path, and something says, yeah, let's go check that out. So you turn up that road. And where does it lead? You follow along until you come to this wide open space. You slow your vehicle to a stop. You put it in park. And you just sit there. And you take it all in. What do you see? Is it a lake? Is it a mountaintop? Is it the foot of a mountain looking up? Is it a cliff overlooking the ocean? Wherever you are, just be right there. And know that this beauty is an expression of that infinite creative force that flows through and as you. You are in the presence. You are the presence. Settle into that. Allow it to fill you, to flow out of you, to fill the world with that presence. As we go into the silence, just sit with that presence. Be that presence. You are that divine light. Just let it glow within you.
Good, bad, who could tell? Situations that the world see as challenging, new thought we see it like an opportunity to grow. I feel comfort here right now with the community of New Thought, the love, the unity that is expressed here right now inside of this world. Even though we live in the world, we're not of the world. Our beliefs, superstitions, paradigms, we are living in the truth. That's our comfort. Because we live in the edge of the field of pure potentiality, pure consciousness, where all things are possible. Not taking too much space, but enough to move and live and have our being in the one power, the one present, the one creative power that creates everything. That's our comfort, spirit in us. That's why it's good or bad, what we tell, because we live in the goodness. And I know that to be true. Wonderful day, wonderful time, wonderful being, the being in us, the God. That's our comfort. No matter what happened in the world of form, we always go to the formless, where everything springs forth. Being directed, being specific in our action, in our death. But spirit knows how to do and how to do it. We just stand back and see the salvation, our comfort. Take a deep breath in, wiggle your feet, wiggle your hands. If you can wiggle your ears, do it too. And come back in the celebration as Sonic Jaggy play the next song for us.
We have an opportunity now. There's been a seed planted, a new idea sprouting, an invitation that you're looking to accept. You'd like to give voice to now. Go ahead and raise your hand or wave and get a chance to give voice to it. Carolyn, you're muted.
I'm
There you
turning
go.
down a chance to talk. Good news, bad news. If it had not been for the pandemic, I never would have made my way to New Thought, Philadelphia.
Yep. And still you have enough maturity not to pray for another pandemic. Perfect. Thank you. Anybody else? Dina.
Woo. Well, let's see. Pretty much everything start to finish has been amazing. Jesus, Breen, the talk, Jonathan. Jonathan is somebody I listen to pray, to walk in my anxiety. So having him here today is really, really special. And I guess what I want to say is that I'm always seeking my comfort zone and my safety. And it's kind of a fallacy, actually. You know, life is going to happen as it's going to unfold. That's a little bit of an anxiety proposition for me, but it's the truth. I mean, I was sitting in my comfortable, lovely living room 2 years ago with my beautiful little grand dog, and splat, there I went with a broken arm as I fell over him. So life is going to unfold. And just being able to come to this place is that internal place where we know that it's all unfolding as it's supposed to is very helpful, is very comforting. And that's the safe space.
Thank you. Linda.
I guess I'm unmuted. Morning, everybody. I want to second what Carolyn said about, I'm pretty grateful for the pandemic too, because my cousin sent me an email and said, hey, you want to join? It's virtual. And I thought, yeah, this is great. So about 2 years ago, this past July, I started attending, and I've missed maybe 1 or 2, but I'm so grateful, and my life has grown exponentially because of it. I do as many of the meditations as I can get to, and I love it. But the reason I raised my hand is because you mentioned something about politics and ads and stuff like that. And I've been just, my panties in a big wad about the stuff that's going on here is ridiculous. But so what I thought is, yesterday, actually, I'm watching these people and I thought, you know what? They're God expressing as them too. And even though it's hard to say and to accept, it's like, but they are. I mean, if I really believe this philosophy and I live this philosophy, then, because I know I'm God expressing as me, then so are they. But you know what helps? I have a mute. And I mute that sucker all the time. And I just close my eyes and just take a breath and let it pass, because this too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
So thanks.
Thank you. Wonderful having you here. Dave, we have to move on. It is time for Dina and an offertory.
It's me again. New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions. The gift you share helps fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We are grateful for every way you share. We don't have a basket today, but there's a donate button on the website to make a donation by credit card, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. You can also mail a check to our office in Ardmore. The offering affirmation is on the screen. Let's say it together. I live
Live in an abundant universe. I am one with the infinite source of all good.
Of all good.
I am a
I am a
center
center
of
of
prosperity.
Prosperity.
Enjoy the richness
Enjoy
of
the richness of life.
I bless my
Bless
gift.
my gift.
I bless my
share
gift.
my
Share my
gift.
gift.
Share my
with
gift
joy.
and gratitude.
And
Know
know that as
I
I
give,
give,
I
I know that
do
as I
receive.
give, I do receive.
And so it is.
And so it
And
is.
so it is.
Deepest gratitude. Jonathan, the Sonic Yogi. One more? Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What an inspiring day from all of you. Let's close with a cacophony. Go ahead and unmute your microphone so that you can repeat after me. I am grateful for my good.
I
am
grateful
for my good.
I move beyond the limits of my comfort zone.
I move
beyond
beyond the limits of my comfort zone.
I am love and light,
I am
love and light,
and I let it shine.
and I let it shine.
And I let it shine.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Woohoo!
Yay. What a great Sunday.
Fun. Yeah, that was great.
Yes, thank you. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely lovely.
Ah,
And the music was especially special for me because the house where I'm pet sitting right now, and the people are lovely, but they're Buddhists, and the energy in this house is so wonderful. And so listening to that beautiful music was just so lovely.
Great.
So lovely. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. A question came up about where you can get the New Thoughts for Today book. It's on Amazon. It's also at the Anton website, and you find a link to it on the homepage of the New Thought Philly website. But yeah, Amazon, easy, $14.99. No, $14.95. Oh, pet setting.
That's what happens when you unmute.
Linda, are the dogs really zen?
They really are. I mean, we're up on the balcony